Hello? Are we live? Yes, I think we are. Hope you're all doing good. Sorry for the delay. No, yeah, I just got a notification on my phone. Says we are indeed live. That's good, that's good, that's good. Alright. Jesus. Not much, I'm good. How are you, Moldy Crow? Hope Clark Khan is also here and everybody else, obviously. Okay, so as the title of the stream says, today I'm gonna try to start making some basic enemy variants, right? Like archetypes or whatever, right? Like I don't know, like some enemies that are slower but tougher, other enemies that are moving a certain way, you know, behaving a certain way. But before that, in the comments of yesterday's stream, Red Herring asked me if I could do a very basic visual for a very basic visual for a sort of explosion, just to show how I would go about doing it. It's fucking 91% humidity and 91 Fahrenheit. I'm dying, but at least I'm dying watching this. Yeah, jeez. Yeah, here in Montreal, it's gonna rain all week, and it's been raining for the last 2 days, so it's crazy. But at least the rain has made it, like, even though it's humid, because of the rain, it's not like super hot. So it's like, but it's also not cold because of the humidity. So it's fairly nice so far, you know. All right. Okay. So as I was saying, I'm gonna first do the what's it called? The oh my god, I'm losing my words. Like I woke up feeling awful, like just super tired. So now my brain is like at running at 50% capacity or whatever. So yeah, so I'm gonna do what Red Herring asked in the comments of yesterday's stream. I'm gonna make a very basic like, it's not really an explosion because I'm not gonna be using the VFX, the actual like visual effects tools that come with Unity, but I'm gonna use a game object that I'm gonna use it as a placeholder for an explosion, right? So let me create a script and we're gonna call it explosion test, just because eventually when I start adding actual real visual effects to this project and showing you guys how to work with visual effects, the code is going to be different for the way we deal with it. Okay, so now here I'm gonna do okay, header core variables, and then here I'm gonna do public. What is it? Hold on. Using coroutine. No, I don't want to use a coroutine. Yeah. Okay. Constant calling scaling speed. Okay, there you go. Okay, so it's gonna be a float. It's gonna be a float, and we're gonna say it. Scale speed f because it's a float. Plus 1.0. All right. And technically for now, no, that's not all I'm gonna need. I'm also gonna have public float scaling timer f, public float scaling time elapsed f is equal to this. And here I'm just going to do a function called void explosion placeholder, let's say, right? And I'm going to say, okay, here explosion placeholder, so that during the update this function runs at every frame. And then I'm going to simply say okay, hold on. Public game object explosion object. There you go. I'm gonna say if time elapsed is lower than timer f, then what was it? Okay, yeah, it was explosion object dot transform dot local scale. And so local scale is what you use to change the vector 1, vector 3.1. What? Time scale speed. Okay, hold on. Because I remember doing this a certain way in one of my game's scripts. Like one of the older versions of my game script that like I haven't touched in like a year, maybe 2 years now. I remember doing stuff with scaling, but I don't remember exactly how I did. So I asked ChatGPT, but ChatGPT isn't doing it the same as I have. So I'm probably gonna have to go back. Sorry. Once again, I ate just before the stream. Hello chat, can't stay long because there's a lot of shit I gotta do before I try to stream Fear later. May poor and Gal gotta be with you. Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, Zeno. Your presence is always appreciated, and I hope your stream goes well. Okay, hold on. So here it's explosion object dot transform dot local scale. Okay, where was I? Okay, yeah, and here it's asking. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try to find the old script that I had. Was it in here? Hold on. Sorry for giving a black screen, but I just need to find it. Is it? No, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. No, hold on. Hold on. Oh shit. God damn it. Oh my god. I double clicked on a project, but I should have just clicked it once. And now it's opening a bunch of different Unity projects. Okay, give me a moment. Yeah, I'm sure y'all are really enjoying this black screen over here. I'm just waiting for it to load. So which project is that? 22. Yeah, no, because that's the thing, because basically in Visual Studio, the name of the code is different from the name in my Unity projects tab, and so that's why I'm not sure which is which. It's over. Bro, why is it taking so long to fucking load? Come on. Come on. It's taking all this time, and as far as I know, it might not even end up working. Okay, finally. Okay. So now let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. Perfect. Okay. All right. I almost forgot to to re-enable this thing. All right, hold on. So miscellaneous. Okay, exactly. So there was scale, change, speed, vector 3. Okay, yeah, that's how I did it. Okay. I remember now. And then change scale object here. Yeah, because this, I wanted to change the scale in a certain way, basically. Okay, perfect. That makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna do it using this logic here rather than the one that ChatGPT gave me, because it's weird. Once again, just further proof that, like, if you're trying to do stuff, like if you just ask ChatGPT, oh, can you like make something for me, if you don't know what you're doing, it's not gonna do the right thing for you. Okay, so hold on. So okay, we have scale speed, but we're not gonna use that. Instead, what we're gonna use is a public vector 3, and we're gonna call it scale change speed v3, just as I did in what's it called? Oh, hold on. Oh, that's interesting. I just had an idea. I'm gonna call it exactly the same way I called it in my other script for like the alpha or whatever, the version 2022 of my game. Okay. Alright. And again, I'm just gonna copy paste what I wrote before, which is this vector 3 is used to control by how much the change scale object. Sure, let's call it that. Well, here it's explosion. Yeah, fuck it. We're gonna call it the explosion object. Scale will change every frame, and then I'm just gonna copy paste this here. These two vector 3s represent the scale change floor and ceiling for the explosion object. Floor is usually 0, 0, 0, and ceiling is usually 1, 1, 1, right? But it can be more. Who knows? Who cares, right? All right, and now here, what I'm gonna do is, so the idea I had was, since Red Herring wanted an explosion, or again, like it's a placeholder, it's just an object that's gonna kind of mimic an explosion. What I was thinking is we set up a timer, which is measured by time elapsed and the scaling timer. And then we just increase the size depending on the speed until this is greater to or equal to this. And at that point, we just destroy the object, right? So what we're gonna do is this local scale. Hold on. Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay, so it's actually really simple. And did it. Okay, time dot delta time. Okay, perfect. So plus equals. Is that it? Yeah. Local scale plus equals speed v3 times, it's times, right? Time, yeah. Time dot delta time. Beautiful. Okay, and then else if time elapsed is greater or equal than timer f, we're just gonna do destroy. Yeah, there you go. Explosion object. Perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the projectile. Where is it? Projectile script. And here we're gonna do a projectiles arms object, blah blah blah. Core variables, public game object. This projectiles. This projectiles. What's it gonna be called? This projectile's explosion object. I'm telling you, bro, my brain is fried. I don't know what the fuck's going on today. This projectile, okay, this object will be spawned whenever the projectile collides or dies. Oops, dies. There you go. Okay, so all we're gonna do here, hold on, let me just arm left. There we go. We're just gonna copy paste this projectile. Projectile movement. No, it's projectile lifetime. Since we still haven't coded actual logic with projectile collisions, I'm only gonna do it for when the projectile dies, but eventually I'm also gonna add this logic to whenever there's a collision or whatever, right? So for now, we're just gonna do this. I'm gonna do game object, explosion object. No, so new explosion object equals instantiate explosion, this projectile's explosion object, transform dot position, transform dot rotation. There you go, like that. Perfect. And let's go back to the explosion test. Yup, everything seems to be working. Now I created these two. I'm technically speaking not using them, but they would be used if you want the object to go from big to small or from small to big and stop at a certain ceiling, right? In this case, we don't really need that. I'm just saying just increase in size by however much you want, right? Like old in-game N64 explosions, it transferred register. Yeah, pretty much, right? That's what I was thinking of doing. So we're gonna go here. Hold on, I can close this. Hold on, just give me a moment. Give me a second. There you go. All right. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now we have this. So now we go here, and now I'm gonna create a prefab for the explosion. So no, these are prefabs. Okay, so okay, there you go. Here you go. All right, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to change this thing's name. Okay, hold on. Projectile, we're gonna remove this component. Okay, and then we're gonna assets, script, explosion test. There you go. This trigger, rigid body. Technically, I don't need these two, but I'm gonna leave them in just for fun. Scaling, let's say 2.5 seconds. Scale speed 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. And the explosion object is itself. We're gonna rename it to player boomerang explosion, let's say. Okay. Yeah, there you go. And now we're gonna go back here, prefabs, player prefabs. I'm just gonna put this as an original prefab. Then I'm gonna change this to bouncing projectile. No, not projectile, bouncing explosion. Hold on. Materials. Blue. There you go. Prefabs, player prefabs. There you go. And then normal explosion. Normal explosion. materials, purple, prefabs. There you go. All of these different steps are like really basic, obviously, but it still needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like these are things that like we can't really neglect. You know what I mean? Okay, so they're all set to this, and now what I'm gonna do is, that's the explosion. So here we have the projectile, projectile, projectile. So now here, boomerang. This projectile's explosion is gonna be boomerang explosion. And here's the thing, okay? Here's a very important distinction, okay? Here in the projectile explosion object variable, I dragged and dropped a prefab from the prefab folder, okay? Whenever you want to use prefabs to like instantiate them or stuff like that, like the bullets, for instance, or like the projectiles or whatever that I'm using for my game, always drag and drop from the prefab folder. Because here's an example, okay? I'm gonna spawn here a boomerang projectile, right? And I'm going to assign, I'm gonna click here on the boomerang projectile, and I'm going to assign to it this here. Well, there you go, it's not even allowing me, but basically the idea would be that if you're able to assign from one of the objects in the scene, that's going to be the original object. So then if this object disappears, whatever object you have assigned here in your inspector is also going to disappear. That's why you want to try to do it using prefabs, right? So hold on. So actually I was doing it here, but that was the wrong way to do it, actually, right? Instead, I'm gonna click here on the actual, I'm gonna click on the prefab for the player boomerang projectile, right? And then I'm gonna drag and drop the other prefab here, right? Same thing with this, the bouncing projectile. I'm going to drag and drop the bouncing explosion, and then the normal projectile, I'm gonna drag and drop the normal explosion. Okay, there you go. There you go. All right, so let's see what that's gonna look like. Okay, oh, hold on. Let's see. Are they gonna explode, or is it taking too long? Oh yeah, we can see them. But it's taken a bit too long, so hold on. I'm just gonna modify their lifetime here. Instead of it being 10 seconds, it's gonna be 5 seconds. Okay, hold on. Yeah, there you go. Yep, they're increasing in size or whatever. But I don't think, hold on. Did I, just give me a moment. Scaling timer. Oh wait, because I never told them to, oh, hold on. Okay, no, yeah, I told them to, oh wait, hold on. This right here is boomerang bouncing explosion. Okay. And so then if the elapsed time, oh, I'm stupid. Oh my God, okay. Hold on, I forgot time elapsed. I knew I forgot something, there you go. So that way it's actually incrementing. Okay, there you go. That's what I was wondering. I was like, why don't they disappear? Okay. Okay. So now it should work. And now we're also going to increase the way they increase in size to something absolutely ridiculous, okay? Basically, they're gonna increase in size like 10 times faster than they used to. And yeah, let's see. Okay. Okay, not bad. Ooh. Okay, yeah. Cool. Okay, so now just let me see something. Boomerang timer, 5 seconds. Okay, yeah. So here it would have to be 2.5 seconds, basically. Right? 2.5 seconds. Or actually, you know what I'm gonna do? No, never mind. It's too much work for nothing. Oh, unless, hold on. Here, in void start, if projectile type, this projectile type equals projectile type boomerang, then boom timer equals, in parentheses, projectile lifetime divided by 2. Oh, wait. There you go. Projectile lifetime divided by 2, right? So that way, no matter what, basically, hold on. Basically what this means is that, let's say I put it at 10. Let's say the boomerang timer is at 10 seconds, which means that after 10 seconds, it's going to start flying back towards the player. But the projectile lifetime is 5. Then this is automatically going to become 2.5. Hey, Retroman. I'm making technically a platformer, but it's gonna end up being like a mix of a bunch of different things. Okay, there you go. Pew, pew, pew. Hold on. There you go. Now let's try it again, but hopefully now I'm gonna have the boomerangs. Okay, perfect. Pew pew. There you go. Okay, yeah. Okay, so hold on. I should, in order to make it as cool looking as possible, there you go. Pew pew. There you go. All right. So that works. So now let's start actually working on the enemies, right? Okay. So we're gonna go here. We're gonna go into our scripts. Okay, I had my enemy script here. Okay, so we have our script here. Here I have the enemy pattern movement. Okay. Okay. So now, oops. Okay, if I remember correctly, we had, or rather, I had, in some of the older versions of my game that I'm making, I was constantly using a specific function or method, whatever it's called, in order to calculate the distance between two things. Okay. Okay. So how would I go about doing that? I guess in this instance, okay, I have my player manager script. Here at the start, it's gonna be player manager script equals player manager dot player manager instance. There you go. Set up player manager script. Set up relevant enemy variables. There you go. Okay, so now what I'm thinking of doing is creating a bunch of different functions that I'm going to use. But basically, I'm going to make something similar to the projectile, where it's like the different enemy types, right? And depending on the enemy's parameters, it's going to act a different way. And once again, these are going to be very, very, very basic, right? So just give me a moment. Let me think about how I'm gonna do this specifically. Okay, so I'm probably gonna have an enum called hold on, header enemy variables. Okay, now let's go into the projectile. Sure, let's do this. Let's just copy paste it in my enemy script. Okay, public enum enemy type. Then I'm going to have normal enemy. Okay, for now, just red enemy. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna name them by colors. So, red enemy, blue enemy, yellow. Oops. Enemy, green enemy. There you go. And then what I'm gonna do is just a public enemy type. This enemy type is going to be equal to, sure, red enemy or whatever, right? Let's say none here. Go like that. Then just the public game object. I don't know. This. Sure, I'm only putting this so that it stops giving me a stupid error here, right? But this going to be used for now. Bitch. Okay, there you go. Ball hell sent with approve. Yeah. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is, let's say, okay, public void enemy chases player. Oops. Public void enemy chases player. So now here I'm gonna do chases player. There you go. And hold on, how did I do it with the projectiles? Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, so enemy. Here what we're gonna have is if this enemy type equals enemy type dot none. Oh, okay, well. Okay, like that, there you go. We're gonna do enemy pattern movement, okay? So this means enemies that don't have a specific type are just gonna be moving like the classic enemy patterns, right? Like these ones over here. Hope you can see them. Like this one over here that are just gonna move from one pattern to the next or whatever, right? And I'm gonna change their colors to, I don't know, I guess I'm gonna make them white or something. There you go. White enemies. Level 0. Gameplay objects, enemies. There you go. I'm gonna select all of them. I'm gonna lock it here, and then I'm just gonna, what? Fine. I have to do it manually for each of them. Four, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So now let's save. Let's save. Okay. Okay, now they're all white. There you go. Yeah, just to see, are they gonna explode? Yep. They're exploding. Perfect. There you go. Perfect. Okay. All right. So saving everything. Let's go back here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is enemy chases player. Okay. Okay. So this here, what I'm thinking is inside of this function here, I'm gonna set up a bunch of code that's going to affect the way each enemy type is going to move around the world, but all of them at all times are gonna be moving towards the player. So enemy type is not equal to type enemy type dot none. There you go. Okay, so as long as the enemy type isn't none, okay, so enemies with no enemy type just move in basic patterns. Enemies with a specific enemy type move in particular ways. Okay. Unironically, what we have here, a platformer game on a lane with shmup mechanics looks solid. Yeah. All right, hold on. Where was I? Okay, yeah. So enemy chases player. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do here is have the enemy always, okay. So enemy here. Oh, well, actually, okay, here I'm gonna replace this with player object. There you go. And now player object. Well, actually, I can just set it up, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Player object. Okay. So transform dot look at player object dot transform dot position. Then what's it gonna be? Movement variables. Here it's public vector3 current movement direction. So then current move direction equals transform dot forward, and then I'm gonna do this like that. There you go. Okay, perfect. And now here I'm gonna start making different cases for like different if statements that are gonna affect the way the enemy moves, right? So let's say for the red enemy, okay, I'm gonna have the red enemy dash, like move in short bursts of speed, basically, okay? So, okay, hold on, no, I have an idea, okay? So, header, red enemy variables. So public bool can dash bool equals false, then public float dash cooldown timer and float, and then public float dash cooldown time elapsed. There you go. So if enemy type equals enemy type dot red enemy, do the following. Okay, so red enemy logic. Okay, so here we're gonna do typical timer if can attack, can bool equals false. Okay, so if can dash is false, we're gonna do if time elapsed is lower than this, we're gonna do dash cooldown timer plus, yep, there you go. Else if cd time elapsed is greater or equal than cd timer, we're gonna do this. Okay, what we're gonna do is can dash equals true. There you go. Now otherwise, else if can dash boolean equals true. And now let me just remember. Okay, perfect, thank you. Now could you show me how to find the distance between two game objects? I remember this being super basic, but I'm just way too fucking lazy to go into the Unity API or whatever it's called, so I'm just gonna, yeah, okay, there you go, that's what I thought. Okay, perfect. So we're just gonna copy paste this. There you go. Okay, vector3 difference. Manual calculation. Yeah, I'm not in the mood for manual calculations. for performance critical code, avoiding the square root. Yeah, whatever. Okay, perfect. Okay. So now here I'm just gonna do that. Okay, and okay. Public float current distance to player float. There you go. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is distance to player equals vector3 dot distance between returns the distance between A and B, but I forget which. Well, actually, it doesn't matter. Yeah, which one I put first. Okay, so we're gonna do player object dot transform dot position and this dot game object dot transform dot position. There you go. Now, instead of writing all of this, I could technically write this and it would be the same, basically, right? I just prefer writing it this way because visually it's just more obvious, like what game object's position and what other game object's position it is, right? So again, I'm just being like a bit of a stickler, but that's how I prefer. I prefer everything being way too obvious than not being obvious enough, right? So let's say public float dash range float equals there you go. Okay, so now here we're gonna do distance to player lure equal then dash range. Okay. Now we're gonna do this here, like that. Again, it's a bit chaotic because I'm just doing it like in the moment, but basically, okay, dash speed F. Okay, there you go. So times dash speed F, or maybe I can just do this like that. Yeah. Okay. So okay, so let me explain what I just did, right? So here we have movement variables for any enemy type. Here we have enemy stats for any enemy type. Here we have the core enemy variables, right? So like the player object, the enemy type, and generally the current distance between the enemy and the player. And then here I have specific variables for the red enemy, right? And what I'm doing is in the enemy chases player function, which only applies to enemies that have a specific type, right? Because this means isn't. So when this enemy type isn't none, right? Do the enemy chases player. So what does the enemy chase player does? It makes the enemy look at the player, right? Then it sorry if I paused. I just realized like that there's going to be a bug with this, so I'm going to add a few lines of code. But before, basically the idea is the enemy, any enemy, whether it's a red enemy, blue enemy, whatever, so long as it has an enemy type, is going to look constantly towards the player. And the look at makes an object rotate instantly towards something, right? So typically you want to use look at for objects basically you want to rotate them slowly, and then the moment that they're almost looking right at their target, you start using look at instead of one of the other rotation things that I've been using, such as one of these here. Hold on, let me show you. Player rotation. So yeah, so instead of doing all of this, which creates a smooth, a slower, or it can be fast depending on how fast you want it to be, but basically a smooth rotation instead, right? This is instant. So what you want to do is you want to do the smooth rotation until whatever object is rotating is almost looking directly at their target, at which point you start using this, which makes it snap and perfectly follow whatever target you're looking at, right? Then I'm updating its current movement direction based on where it's facing, and then I'm moving it, right? Now the problem with this is that if the player is like in the air, this enemy is going to be looking at the player even in the air, so this enemy is going to be like flying through the air, right? We don't want that, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a vector3 called player, let's say flat position v3, okay, equals a new vector, vector3 in parentheses player object dot transform dot position dot x. Then I'm gonna do this dot game object dot transform dot position dot y, and then player object dot transform dot position dot z. Right, there you go. Now here I'm just gonna do it like that, just so that it's a bit easier to read, right? Okay, so basically what I did here is I'm creating a temporary vector3 variable that's gonna be equal to the player's position on the x-axis, which is the sideways horizontal axis, then the enemy's position on the y-axis, so a position that's at the same height as the enemy, and then the position on the z-axis of the player, right? So that way, instead of the enemy looking at the player, he's going to be looking at where the player's position would be if the player was at the same height as the enemy, right? And now here, instead of doing look at like that, we're going to replace this with this. There you go. Now movement direction forward, and then move forward based on this and based on enemy move speed, and then calculate the distance, the current distance between the player and the enemy, right? So just give me a moment. So basically, all of this code here happens to any enemy that has an enemy type, but it doesn't matter if they're red, blue, yellow, whatever, right? So long as they have an enemy type. Now, if the current enemy is of type red enemy, he's gonna have a dash cooldown, which as long as the cooldown is false, like as long as it cannot dash, the cooldowns, it means that it's on cooldown, so the cooldown is gonna refresh. Once the cooldown has refreshed, bro, what the fuck? Hold on. Why is this like that? Else if, there you go, there you go, there you go. Okay, exactly. So while it's on cooldown, cooldown is refreshing. Once cooldown has refreshed, it can attack again, meaning that this doesn't happen. And then it checks, okay, so here it says it can't attack, but now, as we said, the cooldown has refreshed. So now, can it attack? Yes, but it also needs to be within dash range of the player, right? At which point, it's just gonna start moving really quickly, right? For a fraction of a second, right? And then we're gonna do can dash bool equals false, right? So for 1 frame, it's gonna like dash basically. Now, because this only happens in 1 frame, I'm gonna have to really boost the dash speed like crazy. But the problem is that this might make the red enemy just like zoom past the player, right? In a way that's like impossible to dodge, right? That's what I think is gonna happen. So I'm probably going to have to add more code here, right? So let me just okay, so hold on. So I'm just gonna rename, okay, that's orange material, blue material, green material, red material. Also, if you want the different elements in your project view to be a bit bigger, you can go here like at the bottom, not quite bottom right, but almost here. I hope you can see it where my mouse is, right? You can just zoom it like that, right? There you go. Okay, so we have terrain material. Let's rename this to black material, or rather dark gray material, dark gray, blue, dark gray, green, yellow, orange, white material, purple, red, etc., etc. Okay, perfect. Transparent. There you go. Okay, perfect. So okay, so now we're going to create an enemy, red enemy. Where is the red enemy? Hello, beautiful. Enemy script. This one's gonna be a red enemy. This one's gonna be blue enemy. This one's gonna be a yellow enemy. This one's gonna be a green enemy. There you go. Okay, perfect. Enemy type. So now let me just select all of them, press play, and see if they update the player object. Oh no, or yeah, I think so. Hold on. Let's see. No, they haven't updated the player object. So what we're gonna do here is player object equals player manager script dot game object. There you go. So now we're gonna wait for it to compile. Okay, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So now let's immediately pause. Okay. Green enemy, player manager, all of them, right? Yep. Green enemy. Oh wait, it's locked. I'm stupid. So red. Wait, what? Oh, I'm so stupid. Hold on. I think I had all of these. Oh, geez. Okay, yeah. None. And this is all good. All fine. Okay. None. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to close this. See, this is what happens when you forget to unlock. All right. So none of these have an enemy script on them. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to add another box collider. oh, hold on, to each of these. Box collider. The first one's going to be a trigger, second one isn't. Use gravity, yes. Okay. So, oops. So now we're also going to add an enemy script. Okay, so now this one's going to be red enemy. This one's going to be blue enemy. This one's going to be yellow enemy. This one's going to be a green enemy. Okay. Max enemy HP, let's say 100. Sure, enemy attack damage. It's going to be 5. Enemy knockback force, let's say 1. Enemy movement speed is going to be 5. Yeah, this we're not going to touch. And then for the red enemy, here, dash cooldown is going to be 5 seconds. Dash range is going to be 5, let's say, and the dash speed is going to be 100. Okay, let's put something crazy, right? So now let's do this, like that. Where was my spawner? Okay. So now, hold on. Let me just see. Are they moving towards me? Yeah, they're moving towards me. Ah! No! Stay away, you fiends! Oh, perfect. They actually listened to me. That's amazing. Oh boy. Okay, that's interesting. So clearly the AI isn't working. Oh, there you go. Amazing. All right. Okay, so hold on. So now that clearly works. Yeah, 100 is probably too much. They're surrounding you. Yeah, so 100 is clearly going to be overkill, but that's kind of the point, right? Like, typically the way I do it is that whenever I'm testing stuff out, first I put some really ridiculous values, because that way you know for a fact that you're going to see something happen, right? Because sometimes if you put values that are somewhat normal, you're not necessarily going to notice what you're trying to look for. And so you're just going to waste time having to exit the play mode, change a few, like some of the data, go back in, change, go back in, etc., etc. For a game like the one I'm making right now, it's really not that big of a deal because I just press play, pause, whatever. But for instance, for my strategy game, at the point where I'm at, right, every time I forget to make a change, right, I have to exit play mode, make the change, press play again, then I'm at the main menu. I have to select the game mode. I have to select which level I want to play. Then I have to go into the level. I have to go to a specific spot in the level. I have to wait for stuff to happen. And if nothing happens, that means I wasted my time. You know what I mean? So very quickly, these types of things can just start like eating away at your time, you know? So that's why like it's all about efficiency, if you know what I mean. Okay, so hold on. So now what was maybe it has something to do with this, right? Maybe it has something to do with this. So instead, let's just change this back to how it was before, right? Using the player object dot transform dot position. Let's use the old code that I said was like gonna cause bugs to see if that's going to work, right? Hold on. Okay, hold on. Ah! Okay, hold on. Oh, fuck. In my mind, I was gonna respawn and the enemies were also gonna respawn. Hold on. Yeah. All right. So the dash. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna put that it can dash. Baseline. How big is it? It has a scale of 1. Let's say the dash range is gonna be 10, right? Okay. That's actually, they're relentless. Hold on. Let me just see if they're able to actually pinpoint. Okay, okay. So here, if you look on the right, you can see the distance between myself and the red one. Okay, yeah. Okay, so hold on. So maybe I have to put this at 10,000, the dash speed. Yeah, okay, see? The red one like just completely like disappeared, right? So let's put it at 1,000. Hold on. Let's put it at 1,000. Yeah, okay, so it's clearly, okay, so that's not how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it like that. Okay, so first of all, this was basically, this here wasn't the issue at all, right? So this clearly wasn't the issue. Now, second of all, what I'm gonna do is, here we're gonna have the dash cooldown timer, and then public float dash active timer f equals, okay, and then public float, well actually, oops, I can just do this like that. Then this, we're just gonna rename it to dash time elapsed, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is, if this is like that, so if dash time elapsed is lower than dash timer dash active timer, okay? Okay. Is lower, then you're gonna do this. Else if, no, you bitch. Else if time elapsed is greater or equal than active timer, then you're gonna do this like that, and then you're gonna do dash time elapsed minus equals active timer. There you go, and then here you're gonna do time elapsed minus equals CD timer. There you go. Okay, that way we reset the time lapse. So now basically I made it so that the red one is gonna basically not really be dashing, but more like charging towards the player, right? He's just gonna move a bit faster. So let's say 10 times faster, which is still probably gonna be like way too quick, right? But let's just see. Hold on. Like that. Where is it? Oh wait, no, it can't dash yet. I'm so stupid. Hold on. dash active timer is gonna be 1.5 seconds, let's say. The dash cooldown timer. Okay, hold on. Oh, Jesus. All right, hold on. Okay, so first of all, I'm just gonna temporarily remove these three, right? Or rather, hold on. Do this, and I'm just gonna disable this. And then in this one, what I'm gonna do is 2.5. I'm gonna do alright. Okay. Alright, so let's see. Come here, you big bitch. Okay, yeah, there you go. Ah! Fuck. Not like this! Alright. Alright, so this technically works, right? Let's actually jump above it. Try to jump over it when it like dashes towards me. Woo! Oh! No! Damn. Alright, so that works, That's good. Now let's put the enemy tag on them and see what happens. Now this should be interesting. Come here, bitch. Woo! Oh, there we go. Okay. So now, hold on. Okay, no, none of these things are restricted here. So why is it not looking at... What? Hold on. Let me just go back here and say Google Unity 3D transform.lookat. Transform target target object to point towards. Yeah, transform.lookat target. The camera, rotate the camera every frame so it keeps looking at the target, same as above, but setting the world up turns the camera on its... What? Okay. That's interesting. Okay. So why isn't it properly working? Or working properly, rather. Hold on. You know what? I'm gonna look at it this way. Okay. Okay, so it's moving this way. Right? Okay, fuck. Hold on. Let me just come here quickly. And now... Okay, but you see what I mean? Okay, hold on. So let's pause. So it was looking at me, but it was like strafing around, which is weird. Like, that would be a fun mechanic if that was the point of what I was trying to do, but it's not. So now I'm confused, right? I'm like, why isn't it fucking... But now it's... Oh. Jesus. Okay. Oh. Oh, it's still alive! See, okay, see? Like, I'm strafing. When I'm strafing, it's strafing. Kind of. Crazy. Okay. That's weird. So the idea was that it would just be... Hold on. So this, I could do maybe this. Hold on. Move direction equals dot normalized. So let's try this now, because maybe the issue comes from the current movement v3. It could be because it's still turning around towards you. Well, no, because it's already facing me. You know what I mean? So that's why that makes no sense. You know what I mean? That's what I was checking. I was checking to see where the blue gizmo was. Oh, where is it? Where did it go? Oh, rip. Okay, hold on. What the fuck happened? Okay. Okay, so now it's moving backwards. What? Player flat transform. What? Yeah, so clearly there's a problem with like some of these vectors or whatever. That's so weird. Huh. Okay. So let's ask ChatGPT. Okay, so notepad. Hold on. So I'm currently messing around in Unity 6. Here's my code. Here's a function I made inside my enemy script. Okay. For whatever reason, enemies with with these parameters aren't properly moving towards the player, but rather are sometimes moving towards the player. Other times they are strafing around the player. This happens when the player himself is also strafing around the enemies. And overall, yeah, so hold on. Yeah, so does this explanation Makes sense. And if so, could you help me fix it so that the enemies are red enemies are always moving towards the player. All right. So let's see what ChatGPT is gonna say. This explanation makes perfect sense, and it's a common issue when trying to move an enemy towards a moving player. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Here's a breakdown of what's likely going wrong. Blah blah, player flat position vector 3 works based on world orientation, but when the player is moving, this can produce inconsistent facing behavior from the enemy, okay? Then transform.forward used for current movement direction becomes inaccurate if rotation lags behind or the enemy was never fully aligned. You're combining rotation plus translation manually per frame, which can cause the enemy to strafe or orbit the player if the forward vector isn't aligned precisely. Well, that's exactly what's happening. Fix, okay, use a direct vector to target movement approach. Instead of relying on transform.forward, directly compute a normalized direction vector pointing to the player. Yeah, so this is probably gonna tell us, okay, so this isn't the issue clearly. Calculate the actual direction from enemy to player. Okay. Yeah. So this looks more like what I used to do in my in the older versions of my game when I was before I started using ECS, which, as I keep saying, ECS is really weird, really complicated, but because I've been messing around with it for like months now, maybe 8 or 9 months, I've started like forgetting these things. Okay, hold on. So calculate the vector direction from enemy to player. Vector 3 direction to player equals, okay, dot normalized, okay. Face the player smoothly, optional. Transform dot forward equals direction to player. Move towards the player. Okay. Current distance to player. Yeah, okay, so this also doesn't change. So basically, we're gonna have to, oops. I'm just gonna gray this out since that's the old code. Okay. Direction to player. New. Face the player smoothly. Okay. So let's see. Let's see if it's gonna work properly now. All right. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so see, now it's not strafing. Oh shit. Oh, but it's also not charging me. Hold on. It can dash. Its dash range is 10. The current distance is lower than 10, but it's not dashing. All right. Interesting. Okay, so now this works here. Right. But then, yeah, it's enemy. It's a red enemy. So why isn't this working? Hold on. Okay. Why isn't it? Yeah, it's just not dashing. Hold on. Time elapsed, dash timer. This. Here it's supposed to do this. So if can dash and the distance, blah blah blah. Let me see how it dash range. Yeah, okay, I don't know. Why is it not? Hold on, let me test this shit again. Bro, this is insane. All right, hold on. Ah! No! Fuck. Okay, yeah, it's just not dashing. Okay, here it has an enemy. Interesting. And it's not knocking me back. That's another thing that's interesting. It's not knocking me back unless, hold on. Let's see. Knockback force 10. Okay. So let's give these a knockback force of 5, let's say. So just see if the knockback works. Okay, yeah, so it is knocking me back. Okay. Okay. But it didn't dash. It's a red enemy. Okay, well, I'm gonna once again ask ChatGPT. Okay. This is so your suggestion worked wonderfully. However, for whatever reason, the dashing mechanic isn't working now. I didn't touch any of my code after this line. After this line. Okay, hold on. There you go. Let's. It's not like the dashing is still. Oh fuck! Okay, yeah. I'm stupid. Current movement direction, yeah, but current movement direction isn't. Okay, hold on. So let's see. So how did it do here? Okay, yeah, direction to player. Ah, I'm so stupid. That's why it's not. That's why nothing's happening. Oh, Jesus. The absolute power of retardation that is ever present in my cranium. So movement direction, so direction to player, sure. Well, instead of using direction to player, I could just use movement direction, right? Because otherwise, why have I created... Where's movement direction? movement direction. There you go. Current movement direction. There you go. So now, hopefully it should work. And I think if it works, I'm gonna try to make a second enemy type, right? And then I'm probably gonna have to call it quits for today, just because once again I have a lot of stuff to do. But hold on. So now it should work. Oh, no! Ah! Jesus. Okay, hold on. Okay, so there you go. Now it works. Now it works. Ah! Oh! Ah! Okay. Fuck! Oh, shit. Run. No! Alright. This is a good start. Alright, just give me a moment. Okay, so this works somewhat. Alright, so mini boss cube. Exactly. Okay, so let's do the blue enemy now. So what I was thinking for the blue enemy, what I was thinking for the blue enemy would be maybe some kind of jumping enemy, right? Yeah, maybe some sort of jumping enemy and whatnot. So let's erase this, because now these are good. Okay, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So blue enemy logic. Okay. So if this enemy type equals enemy type dot blue enemy, there you go. So now what I'm thinking, okay? The blue enemy is, I guess, periodically going to, I'm thinking of the same way that the red enemy has a dash, right? What I'm thinking is that the blue enemy could have a sort of jump and then a like ground pound, right? Towards the player is what I'm thinking, right? Like let's make it interesting, but also not too complicated, right? So we already have the dash mechanic for the red one, right? So now header blue enemy variables. Okay. Now public bool can jump bool equals false. Then public float jump cd timer, and then public float well, actually, no, yeah. Well, okay, jump, oops, jump time elapsed f equals, there you go. Okay, so now we're just gonna do the same thing here. Just gonna be like that. Okay, so instead here it's going to be can jump equals false, jump elapsed, jump cooldown. Oh wow. Okay, this isn't right. Okay, wait. So when this is larger than this, increase this, and when this is larger than this. Okay, so that's why the red enemy was constantly like rushing me when it was near me. Okay, I get it. Okay. Now then this, now this. Okay, perfect. If dash time elapsed. Wait. Again, my brain is so fried today. Bro, what the fuck are these mistakes I'm making? Okay, so can dash equals true and is within dash range. So if this is lower than this, do this, but then also do this, right? And then once this is greater or equal to this, reset it, do this. Okay, perfect. Or maybe actually, maybe I should just do it like that. Okay. Okay, so now let's just jump elapsed, jump cooldown. Go, and then can jump equals true. And now here we're gonna do equals true. It's gonna be yeah, I'm gonna do it like that, yeah. So I'm literally just gonna copy paste the red enemy's code, right? Which is gonna be so okay, so the idea is the blue enemy is also chasing towards the player, but it's gonna move slower than the red enemy. Then periodically it's gonna jump in the air, and while mid-air it's going to activate its dash cooldown, right? And the moment it's able to dash, it's gonna basically like ground pound the player, right? That's what I'm thinking of doing, right? So here we have, okay, can jump equals true, which means that if it can dash equals false, do this, right? Do the dash cooldown until it can dash, then you reset the dash, and now it's able to now it's still jumping, so it's still in the air. It it can dash, and regardless of its distance, maybe I'm thinking, yeah. we're gonna remove this. So regardless of its distance, right? Yeah, it's gonna dash towards the player for a certain amount of time, and then once that time is timer is passed, it's going to cancel the dash, do this, then also reset. Well, it's gonna reset the dash, it's gonna reset the jumping, and yeah, should be good. Like that, right? Okay. Oh, I feel like I'm missing something again, but I can't think of what it might be. So here we have the blue enemy. Oh, okay, yeah. Because when it's in the air, it's still gonna be looking towards the player's position on the ground. Okay, so okay, so what I'm thinking of doing is the following. We're initially going to calculate the player flat position vector 3, which is this. Then we're going to calculate this, face the target, move towards the target. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 3 lines of code, I'm going to put them all the way at the back. Universal enemy movement. Chasing player. Okay, there you go. What I do is calculate the player flat position vector 3, right? But I'm not sure what you're confused about, red herring. Let me know what the question mark is. But basically, yeah. So basically, now that I'm calculating the player flat position vector 3, okay, at the very beginning, and I moved this from all the way up here to all the way down there. It's moved towards player. Okay. There you go. All right. So now what's going to happen here is while the blue enemy is jumping, it's going to recalculate this vector 3, but based on its own position in the sky, right? Hold on. God damn it. Let's just do it like that. There you go. No. There you go. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, so this should be good to go. So let's see. Let's test it out. Let's first test out the red one, because again, like I technically fixed a few problems with the red one. All right. Yeah, like at the beginning of my streams, the internet connection is always pretty good. And then over the course of the stream, it just turns to shit. I don't know why. Okay, so let's see. Oh! Ah! Okay, hold on. Okay, this is interesting now. Okay. Woo! Nice try, bitch. Is it? Oh! There you go. So let's see here. Okay, it can dash. Oh. Okay, let me grab a few weapons. Okay, thank you. Fuck you, bitch. Pew pew. Ah. Ah. All right. Okay. This is starting to have potential. All right. So now let's disable the red enemy and let's enable the blue one. But before that, what is its movement speed going to be? Its movement speed is going to be 1.5. So it's going to be very slow initially, right? Oh, wait, no. Never mind, hold on. I still have a few things to code because I haven't actually coded the jump. Okay, hold on. Okay, so let's go back to player manager. Okay. Jump force. Okay, there you go. That cube with fatigue is pretty charming. Alright, hold on. So I'm straight up just gonna copy the exact same code I used for the player jump, and I'm gonna use it on the enemy. Hold on. So when this happens, I'm gonna do it like that. Okay. So what are we missing here? We're missing. I'm gonna copy paste the code here as well just to see what I'm missing. So I'm missing public float jump force F equals -1 F. Public float jump height F equals minus. There you go. Now hold on. Speaking of this, I should add an F here to know gravity scale also with an F. Okay, everything else is good. Okay. Enemy jump height F. Public float grav scale F equals -1.0. Then hold on. Public rigid body main RB. There you go. Or let's rename it to this rigid body. Okay. So now instead what I'm gonna do is jump force F, jump height F, grav scale, this rigid body, and just transform that up, because as I said, I can do this dot game object, this dot game object, that transform that up, but I could also just do transform that up. I'm gonna keep it this way because again, I just prefer, it's just a bit clearer that way. Okay, so okay, perfect. So jump force. Okay, so now we're gonna erase this. All right, so now let's see. Now hopefully it should work. Let's wait for it to compile. Okay, blue enemy. Let's activate the script. It's gonna move at 1.5 speed. It can dash, it can jump. What is the dash timer? The dash cooldown is gonna be 1.5 seconds. And then the dash active timer is gonna be 2.5 seconds, let's say. The dash range, well, it's irrelevant because it's not using the dash range, right? Yeah, it's not using the dash range. Oh, also this here, I need to change it. It's gonna be not this. What it's gonna be is Or actually, yeah, no, it's gonna be this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's keep it that way. Okay. So, okay, and dash speed, it's gonna be 2.5, let's say, again, 2.5, because this here, it's enemy move speed plus dash speed, there you go, okay. Then jump, cooldown timer is gonna be able to jump every 5 seconds, let's say. Jump force, wait, is, fuck, is it 10? Let's see, what is the player's jump like? The player's jump force, oh, it's 5. Gravity scale -1. Okay. Blue enemy. Blue enemy, blue enemy, blue enemy. Okay, jump force, we're gonna put it at 5. Okay, wait, what's the player's jump height? -1. What? Hold on. How's that possible? Hold on. It's -1 and still jump. Okay, yeah, no wonder the player's jump is so tiny. Okay, hold on. So it's gonna be, let's say 5. Okay. Then also this right here, we're gonna do, hold on, for all of them we're gonna do setup relevant. So this rigid body equals this dot game object dot get component rigid body. Okay, there you go, perfect. Okay, so now here, where you see enemy movement variables in this rigid body, it should appear, right? Let's see. Yeah, okay. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so I know that this is probably not the most exhilarating of streams, but again, I hope you guys are able to like visualize generally how you can start making different enemies out of an original script. And what I'm thinking is next week I'm gonna try to show you guys how, I forget what the term is because I rarely use this way of coding, but basically you can like duplicate scripts and then kind of like prefabs, right? Like you have your original prefab, then you duplicate it and you create other prefabs from it, right? Well, you can kind of do the same thing with scripts. And so, for instance, you can have an original script, and that's what I'm thinking of doing, having an original enemy script with only the variables that all enemies have, right? And then eventually having like a specific red enemy script, blue enemy script, etc. It's just, I'm not doing it today just because it's easier to go step by step, but that would be the general idea behind it, you know? All right, so jump height, let's say 5, and gravity scale. What's the gravity scale for the player? I think it's 1, isn't it? Oh, it's -1. Or is it 1? Okay, hold on. Okay. It's gonna be 1. Okay. So same thing with the blue enemy. I'm gonna do gravity scale 1, jump force 5 by 5. Okay. So now let's see. Let's actually test things out and see how the blue enemy performs. Let's go grab some weapons, just in case. Okay. Okay, blue enemy's chasing me. Now he's jumping. Okay, interesting. So the jumping is definitely working. But then, hold on. So the jumping is definitely working. Okay, he's definitely jumping. But then can jump equals true. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Oh, wait. I'm stupid. Okay, dash speed. Here, dash range. Okay, no. This is good. This setup. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, I need to. Okay, let's see. Let's just change this. Because I totally forgot that I made the blue enemy much slower, right? Oh, fuck! Jesus Christ. Okay, hold on. Bro, that's crazy. That's hilarious. How I just turned around and I just see it like blitzing me. Look at this. 3, 2, 1. Oh shit. Oh fuck. That's good. That's good. I want to see this again. Oh, it's so stupid. Just chilling, minding my own business. Oh. Okay, hold on. Ah! Okay. Alright. Hold on. Holy shit. That's so stupid. Alright, hold on. So clearly dash speed 20 is way too intense. Let's do it maybe... So that's gonna be 6. Whereas the red enemy, what was its dash speed? It was 5 times 2.5 is like 12.5. Okay. So instead here, what I'm gonna do is just do 10. So 10, yeah, it's gonna be 15. So now let's see. Okay, so now the dash works. However, the dash timer, the dash cooldown timer should be 0.5 seconds. And the active timer, 2.5 seconds is good. Time elapsed. Okay, this is good. The jump 5 seconds. Yes. Okay, this is good. So now, let's see. Oh, it should work. Okay. Oh. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, so now what's happening here is that I changed this, right? But it's like kind of conflicting with this. in a sense, right? Transform dot forward equals this. Yeah, that normalized. Okay, so now basically what's happening is that this code here is in conflict with this one here because of this kind of, right? So let's just for now remove this, right? Let's remove this. Yeah, this is still here. This is good. And actually, let's also remove this and reactivate this like that. Let's see. Come on, baby. Make it happen. I don't want to have to go to ChatGPT again. All right. Come on, baby. Show me what you got. Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah, so it's still doing this weird thing when it's in the air. Oh. Ah! Fuck. Yeah, it goes a bit schizo when it's in the air. Okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to go to ChatGPT again. Okay, so here is okay. So here is my enemy chases player function. Okay. So let's just remove all of the unnecessary shit. Okay, this here's good. Okay, there we go. This is good. This here we're gonna remove. This here we're gonna remove. And can code without AI confirm. Well, listen, man. Back in the day, before all of ChatGPT and all that shit came out, I would basically go to the Steam, not Steam. What the fuck am I saying? The Unity API, and basically like start rummaging through shit and blah blah blah. But it's like, yo, like ain't nobody got time for that. Honestly, anybody who doesn't use AI as an assistant to coding is just a dummy. Like, why would you not use AI? It's so practical, right? Okay, so, but again, like, I don't advise for people to use AI to do all of the job for them, but rather to be like the, not the fact checker, but like the, you know when you're writing a novel and you have like your editor that reads through the entire novel and like spell checks and reviews your stuff and everything like that. That's basically how people should use AI, right? Like as a proofreader, basically, right? To just proofread your code and be like, oh well, here you could change this to that and blah blah blah, right? But again, it's like you need to understand what you're doing when you're coding. Otherwise, like what ChatGPT tells you to do, if you just copy paste it, it's sooner or later it's gonna give you errors, or it's not gonna do what you want it to do. And if you can't understand what's happening, you're just gonna waste more time, right? Yeah, AI is a force multiplier for those already competent in a given area. It does nothing for amateurs. That's exactly it, Clark Can. That's exactly it. It's like a cyberpunk enhancement chip, but needs some skill to work in the first place. Exactly. Exactly. It's just a force multiplier, right? But if you're fucking retarded and you have nothing in your brain, well, no matter how much you multiply zero by, it's still gonna give you zero, you know? It's like yesterday, like I was trying to code um, a specific type of movement for certain spaceships in my game. And like obviously I was using ChatGPT to help me with it, right? But it took me several hours before I got what I wanted because I was like, I would describe to ChatGPT, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to do this, and that in Unity 6 using ECS, which is Entity Component System, which is um, Entity Component System. It's this thing that I said, which is it's a different way of coding in Unity, which is very weird. Like it's very different from what I'm showing you guys, right? And even I myself don't fully understand. That's why I use ChatGPT to help me with it, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to do this, and that. ChatGPT proposes me a code. I go through it and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not what I need. You know what I mean? So like, I understand enough to already know that, for instance, the first suggestion it's making is not what I'm looking for, because for me, for instance, when I use this, it's because I have an idea of what game mechanic I'm trying to make, but I also understand enough about coding to know that to immediately think up of like 8 different ways of coding it. But at the same time, because I'm self-taught and everything, no one has taught me all of the best practices and none of that stuff, right? Kind of the same way that I'm teaching you guys right now, right? Like all of this is informal. And so I know for a fact that any of the 8 different ways that I'm going to try to code it is going to be very convoluted. And so instead, oftentimes I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, like, show me how you would do it. And as you can see, like for instance, as you saw with the rescaling, it gave me, well, I didn't show you this in detail, but basically it gave me 3 different suggestions. I read all 3 of them. I understood them to a certain extent, but I knew for a fact that that's not what I wanted. So I ended up going back with my old code from like 2 years ago and just using that, and it works, you know? So, but anyways, all of this to say, AI is your friend. And anybody who shames you for using it are retards. They're retarded. Okay, so where were we at? Okay, so now we have this. Okay, so in this function, I'm now working on the blue enemy. I want the enemy to periodically jump in the air, and once airborne, it will dash towards the player regardless of the distance between the two. However, what ends up happening is once again an issue where once the blue is once again an issue similar to the red enemy, where once the blue enemy is airborne, they dash in a completely different direction and start strafing and whatnot. There you go. Okay, so now we're gonna do this. Blue enemies jump, then dash toward the player while airborne. The core issue is the same as before. The dash movement direction is likely calculated before the jump and not updated while the blue enemy is airborne. This causes the dash to veer off course, especially if the player moves. Okay. Solution: lock dash direction at jump time. We want to calculate this and store the dash direction at the moment of jumping. Use that frozen direction during the entire dash period. Okay. Step-by-step fix. Dash direction v3. jump, can jump. Okay. Okay. Dash direction. Okay, and then Okay, I think I have an idea of how I'm gonna do this. Okay. Yeah, so basically here we can do this like that. And then current movement direction. And now instead of else if, we're just going to do another if. That way this and this can happen during the exact same frame, right? And now hopefully, hopefully it's gonna work. Let's see. Come on, baby. Show me what you got. Okay. Nope. Jesus. All right. Could it be dash direction? Let's do else if like that. Vector 3. Vector 3 dash direction. Then so let's do it like that. Dash direction. Okay. Unassigned bitch. Oh my god. Equals transform dot position. Sure, let's go. Okay, there you go. All right. This is the thing. Sometimes when you create a temporary variable, if you don't give it immediately a value, it's going to give you some weird type of error. It's like, it's just annoying, but like you have to give it a value. So that's why I give it some random value that has nothing to do with anything, you know? Okay. Oh. Okay. Where did it go? Then once again, move in the wrong direction. Okay, hold on. Oh, where the fuck is it? What? Where did my blue enemy go? Bruh. What the fuck is it doing over there? What? Oh my god. Okay, well, you know what? I'm completely lost. At this point, I'm completely lost. So instead, what I'm gonna do is, I'm going to hold on. I'm just gonna do it like that, basically. I'm gonna, for now, because time is running out and I'm gonna have to go soon to keep working on my game. So we're gonna revisit this, all of this next week, because we're gonna keep working on the enemies next week. But for now, basically, I'm gonna change. Before we leave, I'm just gonna change the blue enemy's code and pattern, so that We don't have the dash here. No, exactly. So that basically, like that. There you go. Like that. So that it just periodically jumps. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna make it jump periodically, just because that was the original idea I had. I was like, oh, I can make like a bouncing enemy and it shouldn't take me too long. But then I was like, oh, that's gonna be too quick, and I don't just want to do something basic like that, right? Like it seems a bit lazy. But at this point, I'm like, yo, fuck this shit. I'm not dealing with this. Hold on, we're gonna remove this. Or actually, we can leave it. It's not gonna change shit. Okay, and so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it move at 10, or no, let's say 7.5. It's gonna move fast. And let's see. Let's see. Come on, jump, bitch. Jump, bitch. Why won't you jump? Oh my god. Bro, what the fuck is going on? Why is it not jumping? Why am I being trolled? What the fuck is going on? Okay, hold on. The cooldown timer, yes. Time elapsed. Hold on. What the fuck, bro? If can jump equals false. Oh, Jesus. Well, actually, this is irrelevant. Also, if can jump equals... Oh, fuck. Okay, I'm stupid. This is why. Because this was activated. Jesus. This is what happens when you like recycle your code in a weird way. Yeah, he's a white boy. The blue enemy. Okay, hold on. He's a short king. There you go. Okay, so now let's make it jump every 1.5 seconds. Let's see if it's gonna be hopping like a bunny. Oh, it's like double jumping. Oh, okay. Hold on, let me just see. Okay, so maybe every 3 seconds then. Let's see, every 3 seconds. Okay, this could be interesting actually. Okay, so hold on, so that's maybe a bit too. Let's try 2.5. Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay, so at 2.25. Okay. Let's do 2.25. And now let me just modify my spawner here to periodically spawn either a blue or a red enemy, just to make things interesting, right? So we're gonna do spawner manager, spawn objects, timer variables, public float spawn timer f. Whoops. Okay, public float spawn time elapsed f equals 0. So what we're gonna do here is another function that's gonna be public void spawn enemies based timer, or spawn enemies timer. Okay, and now we're gonna do if time elapsed is lower than timer f, time elapsed plus equals time dot delta time, and then else if time elapsed is greater or equal to timer f, is greater or equal to timer f. Just give me a second here. There you go. Okay, so what are we gonna do? So we're gonna do, well, first of all, time elapsed, we're gonna reset it. Minus equals timer f. But before we do that, we're gonna spawn a random. So we're gonna do a integer spawn enemy RNG equals 0, let's say. Then spawn enemy RNG equals random dot range between 0 and 2, which means that this thing, since it's an integer, it's hold on, it's as you see here, as you see here, it says integer random dot range in parentheses from the minimum inclusive to the maximum exclusive, which I went over this last week or maybe the week before, I don't remember. But basically, the 2 is excluded. So this, its value, since it's an integer, it can't be decimals. It's either going to be equal to 0 or 1, right? And so what we're going to do, okay, is, just give me a moment. So red enemy is 0, blue enemy is 1. Okay, so that's perfect actually. It's already set up. So what I'm going to do here is, there you go. It's just this. Newly spawned object, objects to instantiate, either 0 or 1, boom. There you go. Right, and now here we're just going to do enemies timer. Okay, there you go. And so now this should be working perfectly fine. I'm going to say that like every 1.5 seconds it's going to spawn an enemy, but before that I'm just going to duplicate this plane here and move it here, and basically, hold on, basically make it 10, 10, like that, just so that we have a bit more space. And then this, I'm gonna move it here, like that. Okay, should be good. Oh yeah, and what's the timer? Let's say every 1.5 seconds, right? Just so that this looks crazy, right? Okay. So now let's see. Oh fuck, no, hold on. No, I forgot something. My red enemy, I need to activate its enemy script, and the blue enemy is also activated. Amazing. So let me just close this. Spawner. Okay. Okay, so let's get some weapons. Okay, so see? It's spawning a bunch of enemies. Pew pew pew! Oh, fuck! Oh! Like imagine that I'm actually doing damage. Oh, fuck! No! I got hit by a fentanyl syringe. Pew pew! Okay, hold on. Let me just... Oh, Lord. Yeah, I really need to fix whatever is causing this. Oh, okay, there you go. Oh, fuck. Oh, no! Ah! Well, there you go. There you go. So that's... Like, see, this is slowly starting to take shape, you know? It's slowly starting to, like... make some sort of sense. Pew pew pew. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. No! Now imagine my fucking bullets are doing damage, obviously. And now something cool that I could do is also have like, oh, create a an RNG. Oh shit, nice. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to bounce off of the blue enemies. Ah! Let's go. Oh shit. Bro, this is cool. Hold on. Let me pause. Look at this. Look at this absolute madness. And then all the way up here is the player. That's crazy. Oh. Ah! Oh, rip. All right, there you go. Okay, so yeah, so as I was saying, like, it's starting to take shape. Probably next week, first I'm gonna implement projectile collisions so that our projectiles can actually do damage to the enemies, right? And possibly even knock them back, we'll see. Or maybe certain projectiles will knock enemies back, maybe others are gonna deal damage, who knows, right? And then, yeah, and then what I'm thinking is adding more mechanics, right? Like maybe more different enemy AIs, maybe more, maybe starting to create a more elaborate enemy pathing, for instance, stuff like that, right? So we'll see, but for now, that's the idea, you know? For now, that's the idea that I'm thinking of going with. I hope this was, well, I hope this was entertaining. And I also hope that you guys actually learned something from this. Again, like if you have any feedback, if you have anything, like leave it in the comments or like let me know. Or join the Discord, which I always promote, right? Join the goddamn Discord. Okay? I swear to you, I'm not gonna kidnap you and sell your kidneys. Right? Join the Discord. It's fun. Moldy Crow put a shit ton of different resources in the Discord server for a bunch of like compiler stuff. Basically, like ways in which you can take like a console game or any game and basically get the code so that you can use it for, I guess, to recreate the game or do similar stuff and everything, right? So yeah, so I'm probably gonna head out now. Again, thanks guys for attending. I'm still shocked at how often you guys like regularly watch the streams. So thank you very much. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye. Kiss, kiss. Hug. Brush your teeth. Wash your hands. And yeah, take care.